we deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear. In the days to come, you're going to see who you went to defend.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, we're going to continue to revoke the visas of people who are here as guests and are disrupting our higher education facilities. People are paying money. These kids pay money to go to school, and they have to walk through a bunch of lunatics who are here on student.
All right, grace and peace, everybody. You all saw Marco Rubio and Van Hollen have that dust up recently. Shout out to Marco Rubio, who's been a fantastic Secretary of State. Well, I want to take a second to dig into that just a little bit more, give a little bit more insight, a little bit of my opinion concerning it. So thank you so much for tapping in. Thank you so much for liking, and let's go ahead and get started. Let's see what Brother Rubio had to say. Let's go.
I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job.
Dang, Marco, don't come out the gate like that, Marco. He said, man, look, I regret it. He said, well, man, that's probably means I'm doing the right thing. Because remember, Van Hollen is a guy that has been arguing and pushing for the deported gang member to be able to get back into the United States. He's the one that went to El Salvador to sit down and have drinks with them. And Marco slyly makes a commentary about that. Let's go.
Based on what I know.
Well, that's just a flippant statement, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I didn't ask
Senator, please let the Secretary have
I'd be happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add.
Well,
your remarks do not represent the view of this committee.
Well, Mr.
Secretary, please.
Well, I'd like to. I can't respond to everything he said because much of these are untrue, but I'll go through a few. First of all, I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with USAID. For example, I don't regret cutting $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes us stronger and more prosperous as a nation. I don't regret psychosocial support services.
I raised Sudan, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr.
Senator? Senator, I'd ask you to suspend. You had 7 straight minutes.
I chose to use my time that way, Mr. Chairman. That's my right to
please
use
suspend
my time that way.
Secretary Rubio.
Well, I can go on. I mean, there's other things here. We spent $227,000 for Big Cat's YouTube channel from USAID. We spent $14 million for social cohesion in Mali, whatever the hell that means. So I can go on and on. I got the list here, and there's more. I didn't even bring the whole list. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with.
Shots fired. Shots fired, Marco. Shots, man, you out of control. One of the problems I have with this whole, the way Doge came through and exposed so many errors, the way they're deporting people, is people tend to gravitate toward the fringes of the discussion. So they say, Van Hollen is going to point out these 2 or 3 ancillary deportations that probably shouldn't have happened, but they ignore the multitude of examples of how we're wasting money. Now, truth be told, I think if they really thought about it and really cared about the topic, they could come to some place in the middle and meet and say, hey, we can cut these, we can trim these, but we don't deport these. Like, they actually don't even have to have the same discussion, because deportations and wasting of money are not the same things. But it seems like oftentimes the left is just stuck in their ideology to the point that they can't even consider moving slightly toward the other side, being a little bit giving or such like that. So let's let Rubio finish it up.
And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear. In the days to come, you're going to see who you went to defend.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Secretary Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated comments like that.
Secretary Rubio has the floor.
Secretary Rubio should take that testimony to the federal court of the United States, because he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch. No judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to conduct foreign policy. No judge can tell me how I have to outreach to a foreign partner or what I need to say to them. And if I do reach to that foreign partner and talk to them, I have under no obligation to share that with the judiciary branch. Just like a judge cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister of Russia, they cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister or the president of El Salvador. And if I did negotiate with them, which we have responded to them, and And we've told them, we've had communications with the president of El Salvador. I am under no obligation, under our division of powers in this country, and to share with the judicial branch how I conducted diplomacy of the United States. It would actually be counterproductive. If I started sharing with courts, or frankly, with the media, my conversations with foreign leaders and all of their details, no foreign leader would talk to me again, and we would break trust with them. So I have complied with every court order. What I won't comply with is an order to disclose what I'm saying and what we're talking about with a foreign leader, because then they won't talk to me. Diplomacy doesn't work that way. About the student visas, let me say this.
I never thought about that. I never thought that you would want again, like as Marco was making it very clear, he's negotiating, and you're not going to know about that senator. You're not going to know about that representative or congressperson. And that's a good thing. I can imagine, like, can you imagine if they were sharing whatever it was that they negotiated with them? We are assuming the best of them. So we're not assuming that they are negotiating some bad faith deal or some bad faith argument. That's crazy. All right, we're almost done. Thanks.
I don't deport anybody, and I don't snatch anybody. The State Department does not have officers in the street snatching everybody. What I do is revoke visas, and it's very simple. A visa is not a right. It is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study. And if you tell me that you're coming to the United States to lead campus crusades, to take over libraries and try to burn down buildings and acts of violence, we're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what Ms. Ostork did?
We're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what she
And if you
did?
do
Come
that-
on, Mr. Secretary.
And every single
You're
one of
just
these
blowing
cases, the
smoke
factors
here
are
now.
different.
Senator,
The bottom line is, if you're
Senator,
coming here to stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you a visa. And if you
Does
have
the
a
First
visa
Amendment
and we find
apply
you,
to
we'll
people
revoke
living
it.
in the United
And
States?
we're going to do more. There are more coming. We're going to continue to revoke the visas of people who are here as guests and are disrupting our higher
there's more
education
coming.
facilities. People are paying money. These kids pay money to go to school, and they have to walk through
Writing
a bunch
an
of
op-ed
lunatics
to the
who are
tough
here on student
newspapers
visas.
disrupting the
Simple
foreign
as
policy
that.
of the United
I want to
States.
do more. I hope we can
That's
find more of these people.
pathetic, Mr.
In fact, the other day, some guys led a riot. I forgot what university it was, and I asked, please, can you find the arrest records of all the people that were arrested at that riot at that campus? Because if any of them have a visa, we're going to revoke
I
it.
feel so much safer
All right,
when you lock
let's,
up people like Ms. Ostork, Mr. Secretary.
We've had enough time on the subject. Thank you very much.
They're screaming, literally, at Secretary Rubio about whether or not a legal pathway for victims of persecution is too lenient when they were fine with 10 million lawless illegal border crossings over 4 years. It's really tough to sit here and listen to those types of lectures. Hypocrisy is often embedded in politics. I think Van Hollen is putting on a show for his base. The base does love this. The wider public, rather, does not. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is the man that you just referenced. And you heard Van Hollen, once again, getting his dander up, taking umbrage at the way that Rubio, I think, accurately characterized his criminal record, Abrego Garcia's criminal record. Van Hollen, a senator from Maryland, that's the same guy who could not be bothered to reach out to the family of Rachel Morin, a U.S. citizen from Maryland who was brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant in Maryland. And so he could go all the way to El Salvador to stand in solidarity with Mr. Garcia, who has quite a series of credible allegations against him, some of which have been adjudicated, by the way. And yet it was like a little statement he put out from his office when Rachel Morin was murdered. I think a lot of Americans look back and consider those two side by side, and it's not a good look for Senator Van Hollen.
Wow. Shout out to him. Thank you so much for that, man. That was good. And I agree with him. I think a lot of this is performative. A lot of this is to rally the base. Like, hey, I'm skewering Marco. I'm putting Marco's thumbs to the screws. But really, at the end of the day, who's suffering? It's really the American people. But let me know what you think about it. If you saw this, let me know what your comments were, what your thoughts were about the Marco Rubio Van Hollen dust up, if you will. And give me your thoughts and opinions. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for liking the video. Thank you so much for helping us hit our goal of 50,000 subscribers. We really do appreciate it. And we are on our way. Looking forward to seeing you again real soon. Grace and peace.